Hello everyone, welcome back to the Untitled Sickcos Project podcast, where I am Bears fan, Lord of Bears, Master of Fans. I am joined alongside my colleagues.
For instance, I am Carsausage, and I currently live in Grand Rapids, home to, and I kid you not, the man who invented the Pop-Tart.
Hello.
Oh. I'm from a place where they legalize weed and a bad driver.
Hello, everybody. I am the MaskedAura. I don't work fast food. Don't become a manager. It's a trap. Don't do it.
And hello, I am Nickman. I am from the place where the sun is out all day, and I am very used to the heat. The heat is just another word in the dictionary for me. However, being from Vegas, it's always funny. Always funny getting to talk about weather with other people. Because people complain about how hot it is, and here I am in Vegas, just being a turtle in the sun.
I mean, that's
It's
what this
105
episode.
there right now. Dude!
I don't know how you do it,
And
honestly.
today we have a very special guest, live from the basement where we kidnapped him. Would you like to introduce yourself?
Hi, I'm DrawPlayDave, and I'm more important than every other person in here.
God damn it.
Certain government agents watching. This is not a hostage situation.
They think they kidnapped me, but
I just can't believe it worked.
look, I had nothing to do, so I just kind of let them.
Today we will be going over the NFC East and previewing the teams, but before that, we traditionally have a welcome mat. And for those of you who don't know, welcome mats are where you can talk about anything you want. You have about 2 to 3 minutes, and since we have a special guest here, and I feel like putting him on the spot, Dave, you have the floor. Speak your mind.
I can talk about anything I want, right?
Yeah.
Well, as long as it doesn't
That
get us
doesn't get us
canceled.
banned.
All right. Well, how excited are you guys for the Tour de France? I'm pumped.
Yeah.
You think
Pumped
Jonas
like a
Vingegaard is gonna
fire.
overcome his injury, or do you think Pogge's gonna win?
I think, well, personally, I think, when it comes to Tour de France, I worry less about, like who's going to be, in front. To me, I always bet on who's going to be last. That's where the real action is. Cause
Do you even know what a bike is?
Yes, I do.
Monday, I always thought reels.
Real. Tour de France. I'm just looking at the betting odds, and I'm just gonna roll a dice, and that's who I think is gonna win.
Only other thing I remember about Tour de France is some dude that held up a sign that got not one but 2 Simpsons memes made about him.
One. Toje Pugscar. That's my pick.
Yeah, probably same here. I don't. Yeah, I'm just gonna follow the betting line.
Personally, I hope everyone lives, and I hope at the very end they all hug each other very much.
Real
Yeah,
though?
I just hope
No,
we don't
really
get a
bad.
big one.
Derek's so sweaty at the end of that.
Oh god, yeah.
They call it the Tour de France, and yet it starts in Italy. Curious.
I completely forgotten about that the Tour de France was a thing. I don't have TV anymore. So like I haven't had normal cable television probably in about 7-8 years. I usually just do everything through streaming nowadays, and I completely forgot that the Tour de France was a thing. Because the closest memory I have towards the Tour de France wasn't there was a father-son duo that did the Amazing Race, and that's my most recent memory of it.
Also, Dave, I sent you the YouTube link,
Okay.
I believe.
Wow, the highly coveted YouTube link. You should feel
Yes.
honored.
But yeah, the Tour de France. All I can say is, my dad can beat up your dad, and he can beat you up in biking.
That's not how bicycling works.
You haven't been watching the Tour de France, have you? Then
I
I believe
mean,
you're watching the
'cause-
Tour de Fight.
because something.
Listen, all I'm gonna say is if we get to see someone get stone cold stunnered at the Tour de France, I think ratings would hit an all-time high.
Because what was it? They don't all go at once. They go in like waves, right? Or am I thinking of something completely different?
That's called surfing.
Sir.
That's the Tour de Bras.
Yeah, bro.
Now, Tour de France, everybody goes at once.
Okay.
It's just a big mass of bikers, and then they split apart. And
I must be thinking of a different sport.
it's basically NASCAR, but without the excitements.
Well, I mean, there's a massive bike pile up. I mean, who are we to say?
Oh, God.
Yeah, fuck the
But
movement.
yeah,
Good luck
I think
to.
it's a
Wait, are there any Canadians competing? Which Canadian has the best fucking odds?
Shit, you got me. Oh wait, hang
I
on
have
a
no
second.
idea.
No
I can sort by country, and I feel like there are 3 Canadians. We
Okay.
got Guillaume Boivin, Derek G, and Hugo Cool.
Hugo Cool. Oh, I have no idea who any of those.
that guy's definitely not real.
Yeah, I don't. I mean,
He's got
I-
a Brock's
That's
Moxie
not
in
a
the
real
chat.
name. That's a name you give yourself in 3rd grade.
Brock Moxie in the
I'm
chat.
Brock Moxie. I don't even have a baby voice.
Oh, that explains why his name is all fucked up. He's from Quebec.
Oh
Hey,
yeah.
dude,
I mean, isn't there someone else
I
from
feel like
Quebec from a tree quote that says "You go make bicycle"?
Something like that.
All right. Anyways, I know jack shit about the Tour.
You tried your best.
I feel like this is a better time to transition to our
Yep.
main topic. The NFC East. All I can say about this division is the Cowboys won't be first this year because that curse is living on.
It's such.
But who will it be?
I mean, we
We'll
can
see.
let's talk about the New York Giants first. We can talk about the Giants first, and we'll give the floor to Dave to talk about the.
How about we talk about them last? Because I don't want to think about them any earlier than I have to.
Okay, fair enough. Let's go with the Washington Commanders.
I did.
So here's how it's gonna work.
I would-
We're gonna give our thoughts and opinions about these teams, and since predicting the exact record at this time of the year is completely cringe, we're gonna go with what is their floor, what is their ceiling. We're gonna give some sort of range. And yeah, so we're gonna start off with I believe the Washington Commanders. If there's any
I
team
feel
that just needs to finish and look somewhat decent and not fire their head coach at the end of the season, it's Washington.
for the most part, this is definitely a team where it's like, it really depends on how you feel about Jaden Daniels, and that'll kind of determine their success going into the season. Regardless, they don't have a defense at all, but the best thing you can do is make Jaden Daniels look kind of good, But we'll get into our opinions about that quarterback in a bit. I will say at the very least, though, when it comes to the Commanders, they kind of got a good idea when it comes to getting Dan Quinn as head coach, in my opinion. I don't feel like that was one of the worst signings. You get
It
an
could have
experienced
been-
guy
it
that'll
could have
help
been
out.
worse. I mean, considering he wasn't their A plan.
He was.
Yeah.
It was the same thing with Seattle too. Mike McDaniel wasn't Plan A. Seattle, I believe
Yeah.
Seattle, Washington were going for the same guy.
Yeah, because my thing with Dan Quinn is this, like, do I think he's an upgrade, like, in 2024, do I think he's an upgrade over a washed-up Ron Rivera? Yes, I definitely think he's an upgrade. But if there's something that does rub me the wrong way with the hire, it's just, it's very easy to tell that this was not Washington's Plan A. Like, their Plan A was Ben Johnson and Ben Johnson only. And when Ben Johnson said, I'm not interested in taking this job, so, that's your problem now. Yeah, all those eggs in that basket completely shattered. And granted, as I said, I still think Quinn's an improvement over, Ron Rivera. But at the same time, it still feels like, yeah, this wasn't their Plan A.
Yeah, but I still think that, I still think it's going to be interesting to see their defense because I think they got a lot of interesting free agency moves, even if they have lost a little bit of steam to them, like Bobby Wagner, not as good as he once was, but I think he will make a good leader role at middle linebacker, and I also really like their big defensive get that they got in the third round, Jerzon Newton. I feel like he's
Second round, but yeah.
Second round, second. Fake football fan, fake football fan.
no whatever, dude.
I mean, the thing about the Commanders is the thing that kind of scares me the most is we could be seeing, like, again, I've seen Bobby Wagner has anchored the Seahawks defense for a very long time, and you feel like you really needed that, like, second, third, or third, like that second or third guy to step up, but they never really end up doing. Because if Bobby Wagner is leading this team in tackles for losses, this defense is not going to be very good if that is the case. I'd be worried a lot more about Emmanuel Forbes not taking that extra step, as Dan Quinn has had fantastic experiences coaching Richard Sherman, right? He's coached Trayvon Diggs. Like he's had experience with coaching elite guys, and if Emmanuel Forbes, doesn't take that next step under his system, I mean, I find the Commanders are they're still going to be wandering the desert of trying to find guys to really fit their scheme. And I mean, I hope Dan Quinn starts like a huge stepping stone for Washington, because like they need to have something that shows that they're taking that next step since the departure of Dan Snyder. This is an opportunity for them to start forging like a new culture in Washington, and I hope they can do it, because if not, man, it's going to be another long time before
I personally
we
hope
see.
they fail miserably. But no, this is honestly my pick for sneaky winner of the division, because one, our division is stupid and dumb and weird things happen in it. But like I don't know. I keep looking at Jaden Daniels and I just have RG3 flashback after RG3 flashback.
Oh, me too.
It's like watching
same
him
here, same here.
run and play. It's like, this guy's so talented, and then you see him get tackled. It's like, how is he still alive? Like, it just feels like inevitable that he's gonna take a massive hit after a really good season, and he's just never gonna be the same. It just feels like that's his direction.
Well,
And,
thankfully, well, thankfully, or unfortunately, if you think about it, they do have their Kirk Cousins in Sam Hartman.
Oh, that is true. I was
I
high
will
on.
say this for the most part. My opinion on Jaden Daniels goes as far as I think that he'll be a guy that has a lot of over expectations in terms of his play and performance, and I think regardless
you
of how
mean
you
by
think he'll do,
expectations?
he'll underperform this year.
There are no expectations.
No, because everyone says that there's no expectations, but you see him play, and everyone's going to think at the beginning this is going to be a guy that
Like
For
he's
sure.
the second overall.
Oh yeah, I
speaking
know.
of,
I know second overall, but
Um,
Speaking of second overalls, I did not realize that Marcus Mariota is now a Washington Commander.
Yeah, I just noticed that too.
oh,
Who knows? Maybe for November we'll get the return of Mark Mariota.
Also, for the record, it needs to be stated Austin Eckler's on this roster.
I I want. I will say this about the Commanders too. They feel like a team that is probably going to sell a lot when it comes to the trade deadline. Because looking at their defensive line, if they're going to be like around 1-6 and 1-7 around that time, they're going to trade off some pieces because they just got Jerzon Newton and they have Deron Payne and Jonathan Allen, who are really good tackles still playing at the top of their game, and they're still a rebuilding team that are looking for more draft picks. So I think they could still probably sell if
follow
they're bad
up.
at the deadline.
Didn't
Yeah,
they
I could
recently
see it,
extend
but,
Deron Payne? Didn't Deron Payne get extended recently?
Let
That
me
was like
check.
2 or 3 years ago.
2 3 years ago? Yeah, okay.
He was put. Yeah, actually, it was 1 year ago.
1 year ago?
4 year, 90 million.
So he's on
Yes.
year 1?
No, year
Year
two.
two.
Year
This
two?
is year 2 now.
Okay, that's
No,
low.
this is year 1 because he was put
Yeah.
on a non-exclusive franchise tag in 2023.
Right.
this.
So that's going to be a hard contract to move, because especially when it comes to hockey, we know how the trade stoves usually work. It does happen. It does happen where a guy where he's first year of the deal where he does get moved, but seeing as how we look at the trade deadline, and in the NFL it's gotten better, way better. But there are still teams that prefer to hold on to their draft capital. Like, we don't see trade deadlines as insane as the NFL or the NBA. So it's got to be somebody, if they're looking to move off of somebody, it has to be somebody probably on their last or second to last year of the deal, and somebody that could probably net a 4th or a 5th round pick.
I don't
That-
see
I
NFL
disagree.
trade deadlines as crazy as the NFL. We just don't see things as crazy as that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I disagree.
Well,
I
like, don't
think
get me
the NFL
wrong.
has gotten better in terms of trade deadlines.
It's
because look at
gotten
the last 2
better,
years.
but it's
Well, it has gotten
still
better.
it's
Like
still
TJ Hawkinson
overhyped.
was just absolutely nutty. I remember my mom is a Lions fan, and she went absolutely bonkers when she found that out, and she was like, "Oh no, it's the Patricia years all over again."
But
But
it's
like I don't know. I feel that Washington could be a seller too, but trying to transition off of like teams that are going to sell and looking more towards at the roster as a whole. I feel like this is an offense that could definitely work, but I feel like if they're going to win, they're going to have to be scoring 30 to 40 points a game because their defense will probably let up at least like 27, 30 points per game.
Oh, it's like the late '90s Vikings. Like where they basically, like Moss had to put up like the whole thing, and just pray to God that the Tampa 2 did its part.
Or like, it's like a Big 12, it's like a college football team, which is fitting I say that because we have to remember the offensive coordinator for the Commanders is Cliff Kingsbury.
I want to
God.
see how he can be.
God.
Okay.
He's a
Hold
good
on.
coordinator.
I want to see him as
He's
an.
a good coordinator.
I want to see him in the coordinator ranks at the NFL level. Because if
I do want to see that. I do want to see that, and also considering how Dan Quinn's tenure as a coach went after Shanahan left him for San Francisco, I think it's going to be interesting to see how this dynamic goes. Because it seems Quinn does a lot better when he at least has someone that knows how to call offensive plays. But at the same time, we got to see if Kingsbury can do that as an offensive coordinator in the NFL.
I think he can do that. Like, he's demonstrated that like Arizona had spurts of good offenses, but usually it was like around the end of the year, everything just sputtered and completely went out of control. I want to see if Cliff Kingsbury can come up with a great offensive game plan, games 1 through 17. Because if he can come up with a great game plan for half the season, buddy, your calling is college. It's through probably being a head coach, probably at an SEC school, right? Its seasons are a lot shorter, but like in the NFL, especially with the rumor mill going around that we could be getting 18 game seasons soon. You have to be able to show that you can come up with a great game plan for the entirety of the year. And that's what I think I'm going to be looking at the most for the Washington Commanders is this group, are these guys going to be able to still remain in coaching positions next year? Because the number one statistic that I always have, and I always say this until the day I die, if your head coach changes is when you have a rookie quarterback, I am selling all my stock on the quarterback. It's very common to see quarterbacks end up becoming bust because you don't stick with the head coach. Dan Quinn, Cliff Kingsbury, and oh my god, I'm blanking on his name. I'm so stupid.
Lee Smith.
No, the QB, Jaden Daniels.
Oh.
Sorry, that's what I was blanking on. They're all tied at the hip. They're tied at the hip for 4 years. If they move off of Dan Quinn because they wanted Ben Johnson, I'd rather they passed on the quarterback class and did everything to suck for Quinn Ewers. Right? So that's my biggest worry for the Commanders is that Dan Quinn's one and done because they're going to go for Ben Johnson in the offseason. That's the one thing that worries me the most about the Commanders. I think they have
I'm gonna say this. Hold on, I want to say
like,
this with Daniels.
Josh Harris is the new owner, and like he was famously the owner during the 76ers process era. So if anything, he will be patient. So I don't think Dan Quinn is gone at all. I think he'll have an adequate amount of time to do whatever he's going to do with the team.
Yeah, as long as you're not
Yeah,
worse
seems
than
like
like washed up Ron Rivera, you should be fine.
We
Also-
all knew that coaching staff last year was dead walking. It was just a transition year out of the Snyder.
Yeah, like especially after that Thursday night football game against the Bears, it was like, okay, yeah, this team's Ron Rivera's a dead man walking. Like it's obvious.
I mean, yeah, we agree. We envisioned that it was going to be what's his face? Oh my. Eric Bieniemy. We thought it was gonna be Eric Bieniemy for the longest time. We thought he was gonna get his time and his opportunity, but guess it doesn't work out like that. I hope he does.
See, for me, Ron was a dead man walking after that game against the Browns, where after the game he was interviewed and was like, "Why did you do that? You know, you guys were like in a playoff spot," and Ron was just like, "We were." You know, that pretty much killed him.
Yeah, and then afterwards he said, "We could be eliminated."
Oh yeah.
Reminds me of the Penguins coach, Pierre Kramer.
I feel for the most part, the Commanders started their rebuild like 2 or 3 years too late. Like after what's his name, Dwayne Haskins left,
Well, once they
They should've
realized he wasn't the
rebuilt, but-
guy, I mean, at that point, they're still owner at the time was still Daniel Snyder, and
Yeah, they were not getting anything done with
Mhm.
Snyder there. They had to get rid of Snyder, and then last year I felt like the sale went through too late for them to really do anything last year. Like he sold the team in like the summer after the draft and after things. So they were just kind of put in the position last year. It was just like, all right, let's just grin and bear it and suffer, and then we'll actually try and do something. Which was everybody was excited for this season. Oh, they're gonna go for Ben Johnson, and then that failed, and they ended up with what I think is a decent hire, but certainly not who they were hoping for. But
Wow.
I think they're, in terms of like where they have to be in terms of rebuilding, I think they're fine. It's just, is everybody that they've tied their wagon to gonna work out?
Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm noticing a lot of like, hey, I remember that guy, guys in the in the coaching ranks. Like David Blau is apparently the assistant QB coach.
Yeah, I
Sharif,
noticed that.
Sharif Floyd is the assistant D-line coach, which I really thought Zimmer was going to try and retain him, but we'll get to that. And Anthony Lynn is their running back coach. Maybe we'll have another.
I don't think so.
I mean, yeah. Let's get into Jaden Daniels. I feel like I might be the only one seeing this. I know there are expectations for him not to completely crap the bed, but like my expectations are, I don't expect him to like be 500 or greater this year either.
They don't have a good enough offensive line. They're not going to be able to protect him. I think he'll
Yeah.
be fine running. He'll be fine throwing the ball because he's got some
I
good
just-
people to throw
I
to.
don't-
But you're not going to be able to protect
Just
him.
I thought maybe so could have rebuilt a bit. Like, I don't think he'll be as good as people think.
Well, I mean, I know you called him Diet Justin Fields.
Ooh. Ugh.
Wait.
Yeah, this is hot take
Zero.
taken.
That's the hot take where I'm like, what? And don't get me wrong, this is coming from the guy that is all in on Michael Penix to the Falcons.
I don't bet Gino will be one of the first year. I think it'll actually end out. He'll be. He is.
Dude, you're glitching like
You
so
are-
hard for me.
Yeah,
are-
you are.
Connection is like
Hey,
my
Big
like.
Discord's not liking your
Like a
take.
connection, dude.
When was I?
Even
all in
Discord
for
is like-
Michael Penix at the
Technology does
Falcons?
not like your takes at all.
It doesn't.
It
Taegan,
is telling you to stop.
It's a sign.
It's nonsense.
But yeah. So I haven't given my thoughts on Jaden Daniels because honestly, the thing is, I like Jaden. Like I think I loved watching him at LSU last season. I think he's got a lot of potential. And the thing is, with every quarterback in this class, and looking at how 2025 the draft class looks, it's like unless you are so horrible that you are in such a bad need for a quarterback, I think unless you're in that situation, the quarterbacks you've taken in 2024 will be back for a second season as the starter. So
Yeah.
Daniels has, at the minimum, 2 seasons to at least show potential, and I think he can. I think he'll show flashes of what he can be this season. I don't expect him to fully develop because obviously behind this Commanders team, behind that O-line, yeah, there's going to be a lot of growing pains, but Daniels is someone who I think, compared to other quarterbacks in this class, is on a shorter leash, in my opinion, because he's definitely, in terms of, well, he's not the oldest quarterback in this draft class, looking at you, Atlanta, but at the same time, I think Daniels, even with a bit of a shorter leash, I think he should do well enough this season where it's like, yeah, there's no doubt he'll be their starter next season, but yeah, it's
He'd
just
have to
my
be
thoughts on the
really,
thing.
really bad this year to not automatically be like in line next year. I don't.
Yeah, like you'd have to be like, I don't know, like the Sean Kaiser or something, that level of bad to not be in line.
Deshaun Kaiser.
I just think that for the most part, Jaden Daniels, I feel like he benefited from playing really bad competition in college, and that's why I'm not really that high on him, because we've seen a lot of teams come in with really good rosters, and like, you want to know who he had last year? He had one of the better wide receivers out of LSU. He had two, Brian Thomas Jr., and then I'm blanking on
Malik
the other
Neighbors?
Well, if
Yeah,
we're
he
talking
had
wide
two of the
receivers at
best wide
LSU,
receivers.
you know who else we could say that for? If we're talking about, well, they played with great talent, so therefore
Yes, Joe Burrow.
Yes, we
Yes,
can
I get
devalue their
that.
value. Like, but like still, like I just feel like, my thing with Daniels is, yes, there were some easy teams LSU played last season, but I watched him play many SEC teams last year, and he did very well in those games.
What was one of the games that was like really good that I'm probably gonna watch again before the season? So was it against Auburn? Or who was it? Was it that really like high scoring game that LSU played?
Ole Miss, LSU, Ole Miss.
That was a fantastic game. And I think had there been a college the college football playoff format that I really wished was in the last season, I think I would have seen LSU maybe steal a game versus Georgia. Who knows? I think that would have been a really
had
good
a thing
test.
called a defense, they would have been a playoff team.
Yeah, same thing about US. Same thing could be said about USC. If only they had a defense. If only. Anyway, so let's go into what's their floor and what's their ceiling gonna look like.
I'm gonna start out.
Yeah.
All I'm gonna say is, Washington, for me, they have some pieces, some intriguing pieces. They've made some moves, but in the end, they're still a rebuilding team. And honestly, Washington to me is like the Maple Leafs in the postseason. Doesn't matter how much talent they have, there's always gonna be some hang up about them. Sorry, Luke. But anyways, I'm gonna go ahead and say my floor for them, and there's my ceiling for them. My floor for them, I mean, if things go wrong and they have to sell and all that, I'm gonna say, it's gonna sound really harsh, 4-13. Ceiling for them, if things go right and they somehow win this dumpster fire of a division, I think they're gonna win it.
Dumpsters.
They're gonna win it 9 with a 9-8 record. I'm sorry, I can't see them being any better than that. So yeah, there we go.
For me, the floor with the Commanders, I feel like they have the potential to be the worst team in the league next year, just because something doesn't end up working out, something doesn't end up clicking. I think the worst that they can go is like 2-15, and that's because they'll beat the Eagles one time randomly, because that always seems to happen, and then like they'll beat some like other team, but I feel like if you're going to say like my best case scenario for them, they win the division, I would probably say 8-9, 7-5, 7-10.
So, as far as I go, for me, this team can really only go two ways. Either they just, fail to do anything and they go 4-13, just a typical sputtering out. Get another top draft pick, another position to ogle at, and then inevitably ruin. Either that, or they go 10-7 and win the NFC East, and then get into the playoffs.
All right, so my ceiling, I'm a very practical person. Their ceiling is 17 wins, and their floor is 0 wins.
Wow, a very astute observation, Dave.
I couldn't have
Great
said it any better
observation.
than myself. I think that is perfect.
I think it is very possible that they win all games or lose all games.
Hang on.
Perfect. I bet beautiful.
But the dark horse option is they tie all games.
Ooh.
Oh, and 17.
Oh, and 17. Ooh.
Ooh, that's actually the
I mean,
one thing I'd like to see
that
one
would
of
be-
these days.
That would be a perfect 500, and that
Now
might
why am I
honestly get
now?
them
Why
a
do I want to
wildcard
cheer for
spot.
that? Why do I now want to cheer for that? All games end in a tie.
Because we're
We would
sickos,
also
that's
get
why.
we also get more scoregamis. We'd be more likely to get more scoregamis as well.
Oh sure, we got to fill some of those scoregamis up. It's like bingo.
Anyway, what team is
You're up.
next?
I haven't done mine yet. I had to get
You're
my bad.
missing
Wait,
two
you
of
know
us.
what? Yeah, actually, me and Luke didn't do it, but okay. So in all seriousness, because as funny as it would be to see this team go 17-0, 0-17, or God forbid they tie all their games. At worst, I don't think the Commanders will be worse than last season, because God forbid if they're worse than 4-13, then yeah, I can only imagine how Washington fans will be feeling. So floor is 4-13, and they're feeling because, I mean, if they somehow win this division because the NFC East has an NFC East moment, then the perfect way for Washington to win this division is by going 9-8.
That is truly beautiful. I don't think Washington. I'm gonna have to agree with. I'm gonna agree with Nick. I don't see how Washington's gonna be worse this year, especially with again this quarterback class has been hyped up. It's the thing that I especially on earlier episodes. I've been talking a lot about how much I really like this quarterback class, so I gotta double down and believe it. Floor for the Commanders. I'm gonna go 6 wins. I'm gonna go give 6 wins as the floor. I think the ceiling's 11. I think if the offense is clicking nicely and the defense, I mean, if it's just average, you can't go like if it's the guys that we know can step up. Washington can win 10 games easily. I know 11's a bit of a stretch, but I'm gonna go with their ceiling 11 games.
All right.
Let's talk about.
Let's-
How about them Cowboys?
Oh boy.
I
I
said it
get to-
before you, so I was cooler.
All right. Anyways,
Yeah, the Dallas Cowboys. Who wants to talk about Ezekiel Elliott? He's washed. Too bad. Talk about him.
Hey, I like that they brought him back to play center. Like
Mhm.
they needed a new center. He already has experience there. Like I think he's only going to grow in that role.
Well, personally,
Just make sure he doesn't play against the Niners. Zeke doesn't do well against the Niners as a center. He got
What if
smoked.
I want to see him play the Niners?
yeah. What if? Yeah. Exactly.
Y'all are saying that just because you want the Cowboys to lose.
maybe.
Yeah.
What?
The Cowboys to win.
Yeah.
Cowboys to win here.
No.
That is
Like,
true.
okay,
That is true.
So how I
I'm
envision.
gonna say this: Cowboys' insufferability is not as bad as Eagles. Not as bad compared to Eagles' insufferability.
Okay.
Hey, now
I'm
we'll
gonna say
get to the PP and doo-doo team. All right.
Then we'll bust out my real hot take. You haven't seen nothing yet.
Oh yeah, we'll get to that in a bit. We'll get to that.
So
no.
I have a bit of I have something to say about this defense. About the fact that they brought Mike Zimmer in, and their big free agency move was Eric Kendricks, which I feel is a very Mike Zimmer move. I'm shocked they didn't try to sign Anthony Barr or Linval Joseph. Just really bring the gang back together as much as
I mean,
possible. And
the
the
thing,
glory of the 2016 Vikings.
the thing that gets me pissed off about the Cowboys is,
Their existence.
yeah, I can't fucking stand them. I agree, Dave. Their existence, fuck them. I can't stand the fact that they have such a nice fucking stadium that the zombified corpses of Cowboys fans come storming in like fucking zombies all the time. Yeah, fuck them. But
Yeah, just like those Marby zombies.
exactly.
Oh God.
My.
I don't think the Cowboys are that insufferable. It's a case of I know that they're joking because anyone who would actually believe that the Cowboys would win the Super Bowl every single year just obviously doesn't understand how football works.
I mean, I'm in
Yeah,
the
that's
same.
most Cowboys fans.
Yeah.
Here's the funny thing. Funny thing, hold on. Here's the thing about Cowboys fans is they are insufferable, but it's so much funnier when seeing the Cowboys. It's funny. The thing with the Cowboys fans is the thing that's so funny about them being insufferable is the fact that they're being insufferable for a team that which we hasn't gotten past the second round in nearly 30 years. Like literally, they are being insufferable for a team that hasn't gotten past the second round. And that's what makes it a whole lot funnier. That's where the comedy comes in.
Like, literally, I'm pretty sure among all of us, Dave is the only one that was alive the last time they made it past the second round.
Don't you dare call me old.
Yeah,
I did not come in here to be called old.
How is it like seeing the dinosaurs?
I'd say
they're not that impressive, actually. Like, yeah, the feathers, they're all kind of ugly.
Yeah, dinosaurs are basically
man.
just glorified chickens, am I right?
Yeah, I've heard the dinosaurs are a system animal. They're a system project.
Yeah, and like
Yeah,
all the shows and stuff have them make really cool like roar sounds. No, they all sound really stupid.
yeah.
Did Cleopatra have that yacht?
Oh, please.
Right.
None that,
Okay, we're getting okay.
Okay,
I have-
all right,
okay,
take
you
it.
know
All
what,
right,
Taegan,
let's
you're
get
not
back.
the only one with hot takes here. You're not the only one with hot takes here. I actually have some that come to mind here with the Cowboys. So my first take that I have with Dallas, because, you know, I had some quarterback takes for last year that, boy, some of them I really should have said because they actually turned out true. So you know what? I'm gonna test my luck with this season, because fuck it, I'm just gonna say this regarding the Cowboys quarterback situation, regarding their quarterback situation, because we all know the contract talks with Dak Prescott have not gone well. They haven't gone well. I don't see them improving, and personally, I think that's the best case scenario because it gives me content to talk about with this team. And the funny thing is, I'm gonna call it when I say, with the Dallas Cowboys this season, I think we're gonna see Trey Lance start multiple games this season.
I was just thinking.
Ooh, now that's a hot take.
Hey Nick, you're not the
That's
only
a
one
hot
that was
take, but I
thinking
agree
about
with
it. I was thinking the same thing. This
I could genuinely see it happening.
because like
What's
Dak
gonna
has a couple
happen?
bad games, and people just get really weird. Yeah,
Yeah.
it could happen.
Yeah, I can't wait to see the you know, the winning art of like Trey Lance falcon punching like a pile of cheese.
Yeah. And then there's another prediction I had that might be a little, maybe some would consider a little less serious, but I think it's worth saying because my prediction is this with this Cowboys coaching staff. Mike Zimmer is going to be the defensive coordinator for more than just 2024, and that's not my prediction because I think Zimmer is not just here to be a defensive coordinator for the Cowboys. He is here because Jerry Jones eyes a big name as the Dallas Cowboys head coach for 2025. Because you know who Mike Zimmer is great friends with? Deion Sanders. And that is why I am making the stupidest
no.
prediction I have ever made. The Dallas Cowboys will hire Deion Sanders as their head coach in 2025.
And
Just
then
make
they're
it
gonna
happen.
drag- They're
And then
gonna
they
draft
lose
Shadur.
back, and then they draft Shader.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that would blow up so hard.
That
I'm
sounds
rooting for this.
horrible.
that sounds
That sounds so horrible.
Why do I
hate
want-
that
I-
so much?
oh.
Why did you think that?
Why do I want that to happen?
Because it can
now?
happen. It's Jerry
No, you
Jones we're
don't.
talking about.
No, you don't.
Oh,
That's so
this
per.
is great.
Cause like,
I want
cause
this.
Here's my
It's
thing
hashtag content
of
breaking.
what I could see happening. I could
No, do
see.
you not understand? I've had to deal with nepotism today with Robbie James. I don't need to get the ultimate nepotism idea from Nickman.
Jerry Jones doesn't care what you say. He will do what he wants until he dies and is brought back to life in a frozen capsule.
Because like what I want to go off of what Nick said with this take here, because I've had this feeling, right? Because it's going to go two ways. Dak Prescott's going to play this entire season, and he's going to get paid $60 million by some sucker. B, Dak Prescott gets hurt because if you guys remember, the last time his contract was up, he got hurt, and the Cowboys were forced to overpay him because they were a complete train wreck when he was hurt. So I could see that as I could see Dak Prescott getting hurt, Trey Lance starting multiple games, they fire McCarthy, they hire Deion Sanders, and with the first two picks, round 1 they take Shedeur Sanders, round 2 they take his other son.
I love.
Okay, I like that.
Sounds
The other thing is,
horrible.
I think Dak is going to start real well for like 4 games, and then he's going to get hurt, and then the rest of the thing they're going to like start Trey Lance, and they're going to be really bad, but then Lance is going to win like 3 meaningless games at the end of the season, and they're going to be stuck at like draft pick number 6, and they're going to have to give up like their future draft for like the next 3 years to move up to get Sanders. And it's gonna blow up even harder.
Oh, this is beautiful.
I
love
this is what guys think of. You are basically just the jigsaw equivalent of hypotheticals.
Your final challenge.
Speaking of
Hey,
Cowboys
don't worry,
downfall, basically just porn. Like that's what it is. The Cowboys suffering is Pornhub for me.
Same thing with
Like, I always
actors.
think of this
suffering.
offseason with the Cowboys. Always think of this offseason. It's just painted on a freaking wall. The Skip Bayless tweet. All in my ass.
The world's
Oh,
most powerful comma of all
That was a
time.
load-bearing comma if I've ever seen one.
Yeah.
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 I mean,
Moving off the quarterback talk,
But
I did
for
wanna
real,
bring up,
though.
one thing.
So,
Is it time to have the arguments that CeeDee Lamb could potentially might be better than Justin Jefferson next season? After
No.
all, CeeDee Lamb hasn't been injured
no,
yet, and Justin
No.
Jefferson is coming off an injury.
no.
no.
Well, if we go with our hypothetical and Dak gets hurt, he will not be better, because then
Yeah.
he'll have Trey Lance throwing to him, and that's not going to go well.
Don't
Yeah,
get me
no,
wrong.
explain them.
I like CeeDee Lamb. I think he's a talented wide receiver. Justin Jefferson's just on another globe.
Yeah, you have to realize he set records even after getting injured. Like he put up even after getting injured, he put up an impressive amount of yards.
Yeah,
Like-
and I know how the Vikings offense looks without Justin Jefferson. I had to watch the Vikings-Raiders game last season.
That was beautiful. It was a
It was a
bunch of
masterpiece.
points. It was. Oh,
I wanted to kill myself, honestly.
I wanted to watch.
Yeah, I had to watch that
the-
masterpiece.
That was.
Look, the reason why I
beautiful.
just bring this up is that I feel like CeeDee Lamb doesn't get enough respect,
Well,
and I just
Like, he's a great
like-
receiver. I think he's a great
yeah,
receiver.
but like, who's
for
talking
sure.
about CeeDee Lamb in like the top conversation? It's
I
oh
mean,
no, it's
he
Devontae. Oh
was
no, it's
getting-
Tyreek.
He was getting that talk by the end of last year, but then he disappeared in the playoff game, and I think that sort of stunk to him.
Yeah.
I'm not to be
Yeah.
fair,
I'm
every
thinking, like,
Cowboy
in
disappeared in the
total,
playoffs.
he needs more respect. I just feel like
He's-
CeeDee Lamb needs more
See,
respect.
for me, he's good, but for me, he'll always be the Kevin Dyson to Justin Jefferson's Randy Moss.
I think because like when we talk about like the best wide receivers, right? It is like we talk about like the S tier, the A plus. We worship them, but like the A minus guys, they're not talked as heavily
I
as
feel
we.
like CD is an A+ guy.
No, I think he's A.
Yeah, I think
You know,
he's,
I think he's an A+.
he's a solid A.
Like for me, the top 5 is like Tyreek, Justin Jefferson, freaking Devontae Adams, and then CD Lamb. My 5th one, it's kind of whoever I feel is like really good at that time, and for me, it would probably be, I don't know, probably Amon-Ra St. Brown, but I don't know. I feel like just CD needs more respect. I just wanted to bring that up.
I don't know. Respecting a Cowboys player, kind of sus.
I mean,
You respected Herschel Walker. I don't want to hear it.
No, I didn't. He,
Yes,
he
you
left
did.
the- he
But you
left
can
the-
respect the player, just don't respect the logo.
Right.
Yeah.
But like Herschel Walker left the Vikings before I was born, dude. Like if I were to, if you were to stick that to anything, like Everson Griffin is technically a Cowboy I respect, or Anthony Barr.
I mean, the thing about the
Those are both technicalities.
the thing with the Cowboys, we're gonna be with ha things aside. Logically, they should win this division, but because it's the NFC East
They will
and
not.
stupid things happen, I think this is gonna be realistic. I think this could be like an 9-8 year, where because Dak Prescott really didn't elevate his game enough, he doesn't get 60 million. He gets somewhere around 45. That is, to me, is probably the most likeliest scenario. I think they're talented, but like Dak doesn't get them to like that next level. He's still.
I mean, they're talented, but it's just this with the Cowboys right now. There's just a stigma from how lackluster their free agency, like their off season was. That when me and Taegan, we were doing like the draft, we were grading the NFL draft. It's like this isn't a bad draft. Like I like guys like Cooper Beebe and all that, but it's like, my God, with how bad we all botched the off season, I just can't like this draft class. Y'all just stink, literally.
I don't know what the running game's gonna look like. I mean, their offensive line is only getting older. I mean, I think they got Trayvon Diggs is great. I mean, he's also coming off an ACL injury too.
These guys, they kind of stink in the same way that the post Roethlisberger Steelers stink.
I think their ceiling and floor is going to be it's going to be more closer than people think it's going to be. I think
their floor is going to be 8 and 9, and their ceiling is going to be 9 and 8.
Yeah, I believe it 100%. I'm not wowed by the Cowboys. The Cowboys don't wow me.
They didn't do anything to improve. That's the funny part. Like, they were good last year, and then they just kind of like fell apart at the worst time. And then, like, if you're gonna get over the hump, you have to do something, and they did nothing.
But
We got Zeke back, Daddy. 2015 Vikings football, where they were literally a meme because of how irrelevant they were.
Mm-hmm.
The Vikings' ceiling is 8-1, and their floor is 8-1.
Now, what do you mean?
Look at the Vikings ceiling.
I mean the Cowboys' the floor and ceiling.
Even his brain doesn't like his takes.
Alright, so for the Cowboys, all I'm going to say is this. Are we doing floor and ceiling now?
Yep.
Sure, why not?
Alrighty. So, based on their high-end talent and based on what I think they are capable of, they could beat 12 and 5 as their ceiling. But at the same time, it's the Cowboys. The Cowboys are like the Toronto Maple Leafs and Scuderia Ferrari. You don't know how or why, but they're gonna screw up. But they're gonna screw up somehow. Nevertheless, I still think they have enough talent to not be a punchline. So I'll say at their worst possible moment, they screwed themselves out of a good draft position by going like 7-10.
I'm gonna go 7 floor, 10 ceiling.
Don't worry, Cowboys fans. At least you guys have the Lakers and the Yankees
Oh.
and Ferrari.
I will still say this: their ceiling is 8-8-1. Their floor is 8-8-1. Perfectly average, like all things should be.
Yep.
If we're going with my brain, I think they max out at 11 wins and bottom out at 5 if like Dak gets hurt. My heart and my soul want them to basically get 5 or 6 wins so that they're drafting high, but not high enough to actually get one of the good guys, and they have to like throw a huge amount of picks to get one of those guys, and then it fails miserably. That's what I want. That's what I hope.
But the main thing is from the Cowboys. I'm now a subscriber to the prime objective, as it were. You know, the Deion Sanders, Shedeur Sanders method.
Oh my god!
That Nickman brought up.
Before anyone complains about nepotism, before anyone complains about that, look at who runs the Cowboys, and then complain about nepotism.
The Cowboys have the potential to do the funniest thing ever, and even then,
I think floor and ceiling though for me, floor and ceiling, just to like get it out of the way. Ceiling 11 wins. I don't see them winning the division because if anything, last year fully proved to me that already been proven to me. Like, yeah, no team is winning the NFC East back-to-back years. It's just not going to happen. But at their worst, I can see them falling to like 6-11. They go 6-11. McCarthy gets fired, and before he leaves, he hits Jerry Jones in the head with a steel chair, which I think would be very satisfying.
I'd like that actually. I'd like that a lot.
Well, is everyone
Spencer?
It's time to move on. Oh, Spencer.
No, I already gave mine. I already said, you know, floor is 8 and 9, ceiling's 9 and 8.
All right.
I will say this right now. Or as we're moving on to the Eagles, it's time for the moment that I've been waiting for.
See, your internet's telling you to stop.
No, I will not stop. I'm going to say this right now. Jalen Hurts is one of the most overrated quarterbacks in the NFL. I do not care what anyone says. The fact that people tout him as a top 5, top 10 QB is ridiculous. He is a mid-tier quarterback that is boosted by a talented roster. He is Brock Purdy, but he gets 1 yard rush touchdowns. Legitimately, I'm going to say it. If their defense continues to be as bad as it was starting from last year, and if their offense regresses even just slightly, this Eagles team doesn't even sniff 500. In fact, I think their entire coaching staff gets wiped off the face of the earth.
Big question, I guess, right? Like, was last year's collapse indicative of how toxic things are, or was it just like a fluke? That's the big question here. I agree with you that Hurts is overrated. I don't know if I hate him quite that much, but he doesn't have Kelsey anymore. Is he gonna get those little rushing yards, those little rushing touchdowns? I don't know. He's not a great passer, and if he has to pass more, that's gonna sink him.
Yeah, I mean, look at his game against the Jets, where they basically successfully stuffed the run and forced him in the air. You know, I don't think he's that accomplished as a runner, and I mean, as a passer, and it's not like that. I see them doing like a 2012 49ers thing where it's like they have Jalen on the running plays and Pickett on the throwing plays.
I will say this too, because I wanted to get this out as well. If you want an indictment of how I think this Eagle team just crumbles under any sort of pressure, look at the first Bucs game against them while they were playing at the Bucs Stadium. The Eagles completely hogwashed them in their home turf. But when it came to the wild card round, you want to know what happened? The Eagles looked like a team that would lose to the Panthers. And I don't know how
probably
you're
would've.
able to do that.
I mean, that's
The-
that's the Matt Patricia effect.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Lions fans can attribute to that.
Yeah, because with the
And
Eagles,
we
it
also
just felt like
contributed
after
to
they
that by
it just
destroying
felt
the
like with
Eagles.
the Eagles, like after they got punched in the mouth by the Niners in that game, like they just completely lost all confidence, which is why you saw them get blown out by the Cowboys, lose to the Seahawks on a freaking 90-plus yard game-winning drive.
From their
And, you know-
backup QB.
Yeah,
From
lose to
poor
the
Scott
Cardinals.
Locke.
Lose to the Cardinals, lose to the defensive coordinator that you bitch so much about, and now you were wishing came back. And then you got embarrassed by the Giants in the final week when you were playing your starters.
And then you
The
get...
Giants were playing their backups too, weren't they?
Yeah. The Eagles were technically, I think, still fighting for the division at that point, right? Like, if
Yeah,
they had won and Cowboys
yeah.
had lost, they would have
Holy
won the
shit,
division. And
they
then you
were.
lose to the Giants. Imagine losing to the Giants.
Yeah.
The thing-
Thanks for getting rid of Ed Donatel for us. You know, very very helpful.
The thing about that just has me... The Eagles are going to live and die by the draft picks that Howie Roseman made from trading down. Right? Everyone keeps saying he's made a fortune just off of that trade down that he did all the way back when. But, like, the picks that he's made on defense haven't been an impact at all.
Well, and that's why they went with cornerbacks in their first 2 rounds.
Mm-hmm. Like, it's time for
You
their
wanna-
draft class to break out. And if their defense doesn't dominate or show that they're at least at minimum top 13, I think Howie Roseman's done. I'd be done with Howie.
We'll see about it, but
No.
here's the thing. I want to note this. Because there's so much talk about the Eagles' defense here. There's so much talk about it, and it needs to be said, there's going to be a lot more scrutiny on players and Howie here, because for this season, the Eagles finally got the defensive coordinator they've tried years to get and have failed to get until this past offseason. They got Vic Fangio, who I, as a Bears fan, obviously enjoyed watching him be our defensive coordinator during those years where the Bears defense was so strong that it got us a division title. And the thing is, I think Fangio's a great defensive coordinator. It's clear he wanted to be the Eagles defensive coordinator, so much so that it seems he sacrificed his relationship with Dolphins players in the process. But yeah, like, I think Fangio, obviously that will make the defense better than how it looked last season with Desai and freaking Patricia, obviously. But there's definitely a lot of pressure on these guys to do better. And the way I see it with the Eagles, because on one hand, I definitely think Jalen Hurts didn't get enough crap for how he did last season. Like, there was definitely a lot of scrutiny for him, because, yeah, some of those games he had, especially late in the season, were awful. But I still think he could have gotten a bit more criticism, because I think, obviously, he still had some blame for that. However, I think if there's anyone who is no doubt under the most pressure on the Eagles, it is without question Nick Sirianni. Because the thing with Sirianni, and there's a lot you can say about the man, good, mostly bad, and mostly that he's a piece of shit. The thing that you can definitely say right now is, this season, he doesn't have the excuse that his coordinators were god-awful. Because last year, their coordinators were atrocious. Lane Johnson was god-awful. And sure, Kellen Moore has his flaws, but I can tell you he's not Lane Johnson. That says a lot about how god-awful Lane Johnson was. And you have Vic Fangio as your defensive coordinator now. In my opinion, one of the best defensive coordinators of the 21st century. That's just my opinion. However, with that being said, this season, it's put up or shut up for Sirianni, because you don't have that excuse you had last season now. Like, put up or shut up, my guy.
Yeah, I'm going to say this about. I wanted to bring this up a little bit earlier too, but a couple things. One, Nick Sirianni should have been fired this offseason. The way that he handled his team's entire collapse and that entire locker room basically just looked like a JV, like D1 Idaho football team. Like, it was pathetic. He should have been fired. But now I'm going to say this too. I don't care what I don't care if Nick Sirianni coaches well this year, because you want to know why. I think his personality is the equivalent to Bobby Petrino. I think Nick Sirianni is the modern day Bobby Petrino. And as much as I would don't want teams to like be bad because I like good football, I think it couldn't have happened to a better team and to a better fan base. A fan base that does nothing but talk crap all the time and can't back it up finally has a person who is like that, talks a lot of crap and can't back it up. And and Nick Sirianni is such a hack that he makes Bill O'Brien look competent.
If anything, like my
Thing is, I don't know if I'd go that far, but personality-wise, yeah, he is more of a hack.
Yeah, you know what I knew the Eagles last year were frauds? That Thursday night game against the Vikings. Like, when we snuck up and almost won that game, I was like, okay, I don't need to take the Eagles that seriously. You know, that was the moment for me.
I mean, I don't know what else we can really say about the Eagles because we can talk about, oh yeah, they have a good wide receiving core. Oh yeah, their line's still pretty decent. Oh yeah, all this. They're also one of the teams that didn't really do much this offseason. Yes, they got Saquon Barkley, but
That's not
I
going to
don't
work
want
out. I don't think that's going to work out for
don't,
them.
I'm 50-50 on
I want to
that.
bring up
I'm-
Saquon Barkley because I didn't want to scare away our guests.
No, I am not a Saquon truther at all. He was really good his first year, his rookie year, and then like after the injuries, like last year, I could tell that like he's not going to be the same guy he was during his best seasons. I watched him break free and get chased down, and it's multiple times. I'm like, he's been too hurt. He's lost it. Like he'll be better than like probably what they had at running back last year, but he's not. Like they paid too much money for him. There's a reason the Giants like stalled and didn't want to pay him and all that stuff. Like it wasn't. He's not that great, especially not now. He'll have a better season on the Eagles because they're a better team than he did last year on the Giants. But he's not gonna like save the thing. And it was really funny when Sirianni's like to the Giants fans like, "Hey, we got your best player." Like, no, you didn't. You got like, you
didn't get Daniel
you got like
Jones.
fifth or sixth best player on the team. Like, Dexter Lawrence is still on the team. Andrew Thomas is still on the team.
Daniel
Graham
Jones
Gano,
is
when
still
he's
on the
not
team.
hurt, is better than like no. Saquon's not it.
And of course, you can't forget our guy, our fucking legend, Tommy fucking Corbett.
Forget about it.
Tommy DeVito.
He plays on.
Funny story. My mom was trying to remember his name, and she said like, what was he like Timmy Pork Chops? And from now on, I've just been calling him Timmy Pork Chops.
Ooh.
Hell yeah, secret
Nice
lore.
job.
Tune in, everyone,
Nice.
for the 2-1 where we'll draw Tommy DeVito as a bag of pork chops. It's, I don't think we have anything else to say about the Eagles. I mean, are you guys ready for ceiling and floors?
I want to say maybe a couple more things. I think I like
Floor
to
is
say.
hell. Go to hell, Eagles.
Yeah, fuck
Yeah.
the Eagles.
The
thing
floor is
that
pee-pee and
I
the
kinda-
ceiling is doo-doo.
thing that I want to add is Nick Sirianni is not modern day Bobby Petrino. I find Nick Sirianni more to be like Bill O'Brien. And offense is insanely talented. They should be fine. I think adding Saquon Barkley is going to make him better than people are going to give him credit for. But I also see Saquon Barkley only playing like 8 games. That's
Yeah,
probably
that too. He doesn't stay healthy. That was another reason we didn't pay him. He doesn't stay healthy.
like
He hurts
2
himself
ACL
and he's
injuries.
really going down. Yeah.
2 ACL injury, like multiple. year-long injuries that's taken him out for the
broke
season.
Lee. Not his
Exactly.
wallet anymore, but his bones.
Well, you know, like he's still got that visa for him. You know.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, we did get those. That's pretty much the only thing I know Saquon for is those Visa commercials.
I see it going, one of two ways. I see that the Eagles flourish and they win the division because there's no team wins it back to back. Okay. Also seeing this as the winter of discontent, where Eagles are just bad, unwatchable, disgusting, lots of drama, infighting. Who knows? We see the
Man,
Eagles.
that'd be great.
The Eagles are probably my loot box pick of the year. I have no idea what this team is going to finish. I could see them being 15-2. I could also see them being 2-15. There's so much variables. I think there's a lot of arrogance that is coming out of this locker room. That when the Eagles won the Super Bowl and how the mental framework of the Eagles completely changed. They felt like they didn't have to try as hard. They felt like they didn't have to, put that extra effort in, right?
They're the illumination of football teams.
I think that's what's going to happen again this year. I think they're going to be we made the Super Bowl this year. We made the Super Bowl way back when. We don't really need to have to put forth an effort. We'll just have Jalen Hurts bail us out the entire time. We don't have to try at all, and then it's going to blow up in their face. For floor and ceiling, I got 2 wins to 15. They're my loot box pick. They could be anything, but I find that they're going to be either or there could be right in the middle. Honestly, I think they're going to sneak in as the 7th seed to get completely destroyed by whoever wins the NFC North or the NFC East. No. NFC West or North. They're going to get destroyed in the wildcard round by either the winner of the NFC North or the NFC West. Whoever.
I think that the Eagles' ceiling, and this is going to come as a little shock. I think their ceiling is 8-9. I think their floor is 13.
Oh.
I think that now Jalen's have to play football. And be real, I don't think Jalen's that great at playing football. I think Dak's better than him.
So what was your floor ceiling again?
Ooh, that's hot.
You were breaking in and out.
My floor was 4-13. My ceiling was 8-9.
Whoa!
This is good hater material. Look, as much as I hate the Eagles, maybe it's just because I'm a fan of their biggest rival, but I have a smidge of respect for them that I don't have for the Cowboys. But I don't think the Eagles are going to be bad this year. They do have better coordinators now, and I assume that Sirianni's going to be on such a short leash that Roseman's basically going to tell him shut up and let the coordinators do their job, and they'll be good. They're still pretty talented. I don't think they're going to get off to the same hot start they did last year, but they'll still be in easy playoff contention. Easy divisional contention, so I'd probably put them around 11 wins max, and I don't think they're bad enough, even with Sirianni imploding, to get really bad 3 wins. They're probably around 6 wins. They're going to be around the mid in that level. I think there's just too much talent on the team, and it's all right. As much as I want to see Sirianni get punched in the face.
Yeah, because honestly, it's similar to how I feel with the Eagles. There's too much talent on this team to be bad, especially considering how many wins last season with the clown show that was running the team. Despite the clown show running things, they still won that many games out of their ass.
They made the Super Bowl with Sirianni because
yeah,
of the talent
literally.
on the team.
They have the
literally.
talent to
Like the talent's maybe a
literally.
little worse now, but like there's still mostly talent there.
Yeah, like there's talent and they know how to find ways to like get wins out of their ass. So like I don't see them being ass, but I also feel like if the Eagles are gonna have a frustrating season, like a frustrating, drama-filled season, it would be something similar to like the Steelers, like just the days of our Steelers. That's what it would feel very similar to if that happens. And in that case, I don't see them being bad, but I see them being a very frustrating, like 7-10 and 8-9 or something. So like 7 wins is my floor, but for like ceiling, like with how bad things were run last season, and given they got better coordinators now, like I think their ceiling is probably around like 12 wins. Like that's your ceiling.
I'm gonna go and say this. In terms of their floor, they do have talent despite all the mess that they have. So I'm gonna put them 8-9 as their floor. As for the ceiling, even if Jalen isn't as good as people say he is, this team still has a crap ton of talent. So give them 13 wins as their ceiling.
All right.
Yeah, I actually agree with that. I'm actually gonna mirror what you said, Aiden. Well said. Well pontificated. Because otherwise, I'm just gonna do the big brain Dave take of their ceiling is 17 and their floor is 0.
Anywho, that's all the NFC East teams. There's totally none more that we totally did not skip over. None at all. There's only 3 teams in the NFC East. Surprisingly,
Dave only wishes.
All right. Is it
we
time
got the New York
to
Giants.
trash-
Take it away.
to just like, all right, we're gonna suck. We're gonna suck. It's not gonna be good. We're gonna be drafting probably top 5. The only real question I think that this year is gonna have is, are we bad enough that Dable and Shane get fired? Mara's dumb. He doesn't like being embarrassed, but like, this team is quarterbacked by Daniel Jones, and as long as he's there, they're not gonna be good. They're just not going to be good. We drafted Malik Neighbors, and that was basically buying a Ferrari when you live in a trailer.
You should start yelling. That'll be really funny. Just start yelling all your frustrations.
Theoretically, I don't hate the offseason we've had. Like, Neighbors is good. I'm excited to see what he can do. Wink leaving and then bringing in the Titans guy is like, it's not great. It's not a great look that our head coach and our defensive coordinator had some sort of like weird drama spat behind the scenes, and we still don't really know all the details there, but it seemed pathetic. The Titans guy is fine. We don't really have a great defense. Like, if our defense is going to live or die on the defensive line now, we have Burns. Thibodeau has been, in my opinion, a bit of a disappointment. He's not bad, but he hasn't lived up to billing yet. Lawrence is fine, but he's just the big guy in the middle that can go around, and that's who's everybody said. But now that Burns is there, if Burns is as good as he's supposed to be, the defensive line might be good enough to beat all the bad teams, kind of like what we did last year. It's like the defense beat all the bad teams. They stifled all the mediocre quarterbacks and worse, but the offense wasn't good enough to do anything about it. And this year, assuming Jones stays healthy, he'll be better than he was last year, but it's not going to be good enough to matter. He's bad, and I know that the coaching staff is just waiting for him to just be bad enough that they can just get rid of him. Just like, okay, we paid him. That was a stupid mistake on our part. We just got to get through this. Let him go out to pasture as soon as the end of the year happens. We just got to see it. I assume we're going to see Drew Lock a bunch this year, simply because Jones has the injury clause, so like if he gets hurt, more of that money that he's owed will be guaranteed, which is not good. But it's not like Drew Lock is any good either.
Hang on, somebody's cranking their hog outside, so I gotta close the window.
I did want to say this real. I think it's weird because I feel like with Drew Lock, this is a 10-win team. I feel like with Daniel Jones, you get 7 wins, and when with Tommy Cutlets, you get 5 wins, but you get endless amounts of meme potential. That's kind of
10
how I
wins?
view.
I mean, dude, it's Timmy Pork we're talking about here.
No, I like 4 wins for
10
Tommy
wins with Drew
Porkchops.
Lock? Like 10
Yeah,
wins
I
with
think-
Drew Lock?
I think
Here's
Drew
the
Lock is
No, you're not cooking.
Look,
Take
I know you're comparing him
Lock
to
is
Daniel
not that
Jones, but
bad.
no.
Drew Lock is not that bad. If
Yeah,
he
but,
starts
like-
the season from beginning to end, he will be a good. He would look pretty good. Drew Lock has very much been better since he's left Denver. Look
He's
at him
not
in
bad, but you
Seattle.
think he's saving his team?
What the fuck, dude?
He was so good in
Also,
Seattle,
the-
they dumped him for Geno.
Yeah.
The NFC has some of the like most middling quarterbacks imaginable, and the
Yeah,
Giants
Drew Lock.
beats. Yeah,
Taegan,
No,
you're
I
not,
didn't
you're
mean-
not,
yeah,
you're not
I meant-
cooking
I
with
meant-
this
Drew
one.
Lock is not
Yeah.
one.
Yeah.
You're not cooking.
I need to
You're
be
not
judged
cooking.
right now.
Look,
let me
like Drew
explain.
Lock is like a little better than Daniel Jones, but he doesn't have Daniel Jones's legs, which could behind our offensive line, especially if Evan Neal still continues to suck. Lock is just gonna take just as many sacks. Like, no, at least Daniel Jones can run and trip over himself, but he can run.
Yeah,
That's
but
like his one
yeah.
positive
Oh, boy.
quality.
you don't get it, Dave. Drew Lock, he can rap, dude. Did you not see him on the sideline?
We had a rapper on our team. His name was Kadarius Toney, and look how that turned out.
Oh boy.
I mean, he's
Well,
a
he's Super Bowl champion, so
Because Darren Waller did a wrong.
Taegan, I feel like with
Drew Lock.
Kadarius Toney rapping, I thought you'd be all over him. I thought you'd be his #1 fan.
I think
Kadarius
Kadarius Toney is
Toney-
my nemesis. I hate him. I
Whenever I
despise
think
his
of
existence.
First, Tony is reach for you guys for Justin Fields, and if we didn't trade with you guys, we would have drafted Kadarius Toney instead. Instead, we get Caleb Williams, and you got like 4 years of Daniel Jones. So we thank you so much for your sacrifice. You are a
We
true
got-
American patriot.
We got Kadarius Toney, and then we flipped him for half a season of Darren Waller. So I
Oh,
think
God.
it worked
Speaking,
out.
yeah, speaking of musicians,
Oh God.
No,
damn.
all right, musicians in quotes. Okay.
yeah,
Make it
musicians.
very clear, musician in quote.
Yeah.
AI was doing a lot of work for Darren there.
But my God, all I think of though, whenever I just think of Tony, I just always think of 5 Point Vids' reaction, just the chair going bye-bye.
Obviously
That's
not.
Kadarius Toney. I'm going to flip out. But no, I'm gonna bring up Elvis for some reason.
Oh God.
No. Oh, this is
Don't
another
worry.
one of our memes. Elvis fun facts.
We won't bring that up today, but we have some very interesting Elvis fun facts. But back on topic, you want to know who's built like Elvis on the Giants? Their tight end. I forget his name. The one that I think it's Bellinger.
Yeah, Bellinger.
Daniel Bellinger.
Daniel
Not bad.
Bellinger built like Elvis. Confirmed.
Listen, I'm looking at the Giants roster, and I just realized that under wide receivers is Allen Robinson.
Oh yeah.
Wait, we signed Allen Robinson? No, we didn't.
Oh, there he is. I'll be damned.
When the hell did that happen?
May 9th.
Oh, okay. I mean, like, honestly, I don't hate our wide receiver room. Like, it's not incredible, but it's not that, like, Neighbors will be good. Hyatt, I think he'll be okay. What's his face?
Bill's underrated.
Clayton is reliable after years. He's not great.
Wandale.
Wandale. I'm hopeful for Wandale, so I don't. When the hell did we sign Robinson? When the hell did that happen? How did I miss that?
On a quiet day.
You're gonna say you're
Sorry, on the main
gonna be for the full years. Welcome back, Peak Allen Robinson. We missed you, King.
Well, now that he has a real star throwing him the ball.
Yeah, freaking vanilla Vic over
No
here.
more Nichols nonsense. No more Andy Dalton. He has Danny Dimes, Horsecock Locke, and Tommy Cutlets. Truly the quarterback room of all time.
Oh boy.
You know, that explains why your D-line is as good as it is. Your D-line coach is Andre Patterson, who coached the Vikings D-line when they had Everson Griffin, Linval, and Daniel Hunter.
Okay, honestly, the best move the Giants made all offseason was firing the offensive line coach and bringing in someone who actually is at least competent at what he does. So that was unironically the biggest cheer the fan base had was the old guy getting jettisoned because, oh my god, he was a terrible offensive line coach.
I'm trying to think of who that is.
He was the guy from the Raiders. He's a thumb coach, so he's like big guy, bald, and a beard.
Bobby Johnson, who is currently coaching the Washington Commanders O-line.
Oh, they're toast.
God.
They're gone. Oh, Jaden Daniels is dead. He's gonna die. We're gonna watch a man die on the field.
Oh, dude.
Again?
Oh no.
I'm in shock just looking at the Giants roster.
Yeah,
Dare I say it? The San Francisco Giants are going to be better at football than the New York Giants.
I have a hot take. The Giants do something in football this year.
Yeah, lose.
I
You know,
don't
I
think
love
they'll be
looking at
that
the
bad.
I love looking at the Giants Wikipedia page, and I just have to see that goddamn uniform.
No, that uniform's great. Don't. This is a pro silly throwback uniform house. Get out if you don't appreciate that 50s nonsense. It is great. It is a great alternate silly uniform. One, it's not our like official alternate. It's just a historic thing. It's a great time to be silly and do something unique and historical. That uniform is fantastic.
My mom just doesn't
Nickman,
like them
to be
because,
fair, the Bears do it. The Bears have it with theirs. The Bears have a similar alt uniform, our 1920s one. Not
Yeah,
to say
I know.
it looks a lot better though. Ours looks a lot better though. I
mean,
have
to be
to
fair,
say
The
it's
Bears
still
have a
blue and
lot
red
of
don't
like
mix.
fancy what like the Bears have like some really good classic uniforms, but I don't know if you ever looked up like they wore it like I don't know like 10 and 20 years ago for a game like the vertical stripes like that uniform.
Yeah. Oh
That-
god.
that
yeah,
was
no.
pretty
bad.
Yeah.
I'm
that was
sorry, but vertical stripes
1994.
only work for baseball and soccer.
I will say this though, the best Bears uniform combination: orange helmet, orange shirt, orange pants. 100% fire. You peaked from that. There's no going back.
Wait, I have an idea.
I don't know if I like the orange pants, but I do agree that the orange helmet was pretty great. The orange helmet and the orange jersey was pretty great. But I think I would have preferred white pants with orange socks.
But back on topic, I still don't think the Giants are so bad. I think Daniel Jones makes or whoever is being quarterback will make this team this year. If Daniel Jones can be average, I think they can win 7 or 8. I think if Drew Lock's starting, like I said, 10. But I think if Tommy Cutlets is doing it, probably like 4. Because this team's going to be very reliant on the defense, and we've seen in the past, if you have a good enough pass rush, it doesn't matter what the offense does. You'll be in the game from beginning to end. You just won't have more than 20 points a game.
I mean, that's kind of what we were last year. was our defense would keep us in the game until about the fourth quarter when they just couldn't hold it back anymore because the offense couldn't do anything.
Also, too, the Rams and Giants game is one that I really go back to and and that's why I explain why I don't think the Giants will be that bad. The Rams were playing all their guys and they were fully healthy. The Giants were starting Tyrod Taylor, and it came down to like a last-second field goal in order for the Giants to lose. So I don't think they'll be that bad. I think they'll be average to overachieving.
I think average is probably the ceiling. I don't think they're going to be the worst team in the league, but I think average is probably their ceiling. I don't see them winning above 8 games max. And that's like everything goes well, but they'll probably win at least 5. I'm looking at their schedule now. Vikings game, it could go either way. They'll probably beat the Commanders at least once. Browns are probably a loss. Cowboys are probably a loss. Seahawks, I don't know. Seahawks are kind of a wild card for me.
Yeah, we really
probably
are.
A loss. Eagles, I guess that's going to come down to whether the Eagles implode or not. But that's probably a loss. Steelers, Steelers have a great defense, but that quarterback room is laughable.
Yeah, but think about it this way, Dave. If the Giants are bad, what do you think the Steelers are going to do?
That's true. They're good, and it's in Pittsburgh, so they're. That's winnable, but I would still mark it as a loss. Commanders again, probably. We're probably going to split with them, or we might beat them twice. We never get swept by the Commanders. Panthers will win because the Panthers are trash. Buccaneers, that'll probably depend on what Baker's doing. Cowboys late, that's probably a loss. Saints, that's going to depend on whether or not they're falling apart under Dennis Allen, which is theoretically very possible. Ravens are going to beat us. Falcons might fall apart. That might be funny. Colts, probably going to depend on their health of Richardson. And then Eagles at the very end of the year, I'm going to pencil that in as a win because the Eagles will either be a mess or they'll be resting their starters.
Is it weird that I could see the
like
Giants?
5 wins.
Is it weird that I could see the Giants winning this division?
I mean,
No,
no,
it's
it's the NFC
possible.
Like
East.
Daniel Jones was out for most of last year, and he was playing in front of an offensive line that was without a doubt the worst. Because if we flash back forward to that wonderful Monday night game where that glorious Seahawks defensive line, we Seahawks fans had actual hope that, you know what? Maybe this thing is turning around. You know, maybe we're finally,
It was
you know.
Jones' worst game of the year.
Oh my
That was maybe
God.
the worst game I've
How?
seen him play as a Giant, which says a lot.
Like,
it was
how do
utterly
you,
awful in that game.
like, how do you allow the Seahawks to get 13 sacks? How? Do you know how long, like, I've wanted Seattle to have, like, a very good defensive line? We haven't had that since the Legion of Boom, right? Like, the defensive line for Seattle has been the worst. And the fact that this group ran house on the Giants blew my mind completely. I thought, okay, we're all right. We're turning this around. No, they weren't. They were.
If we had started
ass the rest of
Tyrod
the
that
year.
game, we would have won it. Like, if we had started anyone but Daniel Jones, I've never seen him. He's always been kind of bad, but he was making every decision the wrong way in that game. That is probably the worst game I've seen him play. Just mentally, physically, he was garbage. That was probably the game that I think a lot of the fan base burned on him too. Like, even the ones who like still had hope. Foolishly, I have never been a Daniel Jones truther. I watched 2022, and I was just like, no, this is false. We are a fraud team, and Daniel Jones is not good. We are getting by kind of faking it, but like that game was so bad that everyone was like, no, okay, we need to move on from this guy.
For me, it was that 40-0 absolute shit show against the Cowboys.
That game was kind of an anomaly. Like,
Yeah.
one, the Cowboys are a very good matchup against us because their defensive line is incredible and our offensive line is trash, and then Daniel Jones can't make decisions quickly. So, and there was also the monsoon, and then we had everything go wrong like immediately. They drove all the way down the field in the opening drive. They looked really good against the Cowboys in that opening drive, and then they got down there, and Andrew Thomas had the false start, which pushed him back and kind of killed the drive. And then on the stupid field goal, Gano gets hurt, Andrew Thomas gets hurt, and he's our only good O-lineman, and then everything just unraveled. That was just like one of those wild games where things just go bad.
Yeah, and the thing with Jones, like, because Jones has never been really a good quarterback, but last season, the games he played, it's just like, good God, he's playing awful, even for, like, Daniel Jones standards. He's playing awful out there.
Yeah.
You know, you guys were bringing up that Daniel.
Jones.
You guys were bringing up that Daniel Jones 13 sacks game, and almost the whole time it was like, oh my God, that O-line coordinator is gonna ruin Jaden Daniels. Like,
Yeah. If you really want to just like be dreading how the Commanders are going to play next year, just watch Giants O-line play this past season, and you will feel very bad for Jaden Daniels.
he's talking to somebody.
The wifey.
Because I'm important.
Yeah. Flex your influence on us. So, nice weather we're having.
Yeah. It's finally cooled down. It's 61 degrees.
Ugh.
Oh.
Oh yeah, I forgot. You guys live in like the Pacific Northwest, where it's like nice and mild and rainy all the time.
Not all the time.
It was today. It's not as good as it used to be. It's not as mild. As
Wait,
it used to be.
Dave, you live in the Pacific Northwest?
Yeah, I live in Portland. I've lived in Portland for over a decade.
Oh, bro, we get a break from summer. Do you remember all those stupid heat domes we got for the past few years? Now those bastards on the East Coast are finally getting it.
Yeah, suffer Western Pennsylvania.
Yeah, yeah. No, I'm really happy about the West Coast. This year we're finally Lenina's giving us a mild summer. Thank you, Jesus. Because have you ever had wood-fired pizza before? Like pizza cooked in wood-fired oven?
Get back on his feet.
I work in one of those kitchens without AC, and if there's ever heat dome that passes through, I immediately want to jump off a cliff and die. It is
Just
all
like most Giants fans. Haha, very topical.
So it is. Yeah. I'm happy for a mild summer, but I'm also hoping to get the fuck out of there soon, because I'd rather work in a senior's home and make more money than being a manager. It is
Or
fucking
just become a
miserable.
bikini barista. That way you can like be mostly naked when it's hot.
Oh, true. True. That is true.
See, that's why you got all the clout.
Wait, no. Be an underwear model, Luke. You have an excuse to be in your underwear all the time.
Yeah, you're good at striking a pose. And you made that Baja Blast cheesecake once.
No, I haven't done it yet. It was raspberry cheesecake, and I fucked it up brutally.
Oh.
I butchered the fuck out of that. Are you kidding me? Like, it didn't... Like, the minute you opened, like, the cheesecake pan, plop! Yeah, it fell apart. I still ate the whole thing, but it was just... I was like, aww. Because I went with the no-bake one, and I followed the recipe exactly, and it didn't do anything. So I'm gonna go with like a baked cheesecake next time.
Yeah.
I give the Giants four cheesecakes out of 10.
Mm. I also think the Jets could win.
Are we doing ceiling and floor now?
So I'm gonna go with 1 win to 9.
All right, I'm very sorry for saying this, but the Giants are realistically a team that could go 0-17. I'm sorry,
Eh,
but
like, one, you don't have to apologize for being mean to the Giants for me, but two, 0-17. I don't like. We could beat the Panthers.
I mean,
Okay,
the Panthers
okay,
last
you're
season
facing-
could have go 0
all right, screw it.
17.
You're facing the Panthers 1-16. Your one win is against the Panthers, and it's wearing those Montreal Canadiens jerseys. Yeah, seriously,
Yeah.
it's gonna be your only win with the Montreal jerseys.
The Giants.
And your ceiling is gonna be 7 wins.
That's fair.
Yeah.
And
the Giants
and you win
floor.
and you win every game, with the Canadiens jersey. Just because I like making hockey jokes about it.
The Giants' floor for me is about 5 wins, and their ceiling is 10 wins. I think they're a sneaky team.
Yep. My floor for them is 2-15. Obviously they beat the Panthers, and they somehow like pull a win against the Steelers out of their ass.
They'll beat the Commanders once. With like Daniel Jones, that's the only team he can consistently beat. Especially if our D line gets to go against Bobby Johnson's O line. Like, we'll beat the Commanders once.
Right.
Probably the first one when they're less combobulated than later in the season when they've probably found a little bit of an identity.
Right. I think their ceiling, meanwhile, is probably like 89. Like, as much as I like Brian Dable, he really hasn't done that much to impress me. Sure, he took advantage of the softest defense I've ever seen the Vikings put out. But, I mean, other than that, just very underwhelming.
I mean, to be fair, he can at least say something that other Giants coaches outside of Tom Coughlin haven't been able to say post Coughlin, that he's made it 3 seasons, which almost feels like a miracle seeing how bad some of the Giants coaches have been in recent memory. Like, it seems like a miracle someone made it 3 seasons.
Oh yeah,
Nick,
they're
you're up.
Yeah, my floor, because with the way I see it with the Giants, like, yeah, this is not going to be a good team, but I also feel like, they're going to find a way to win some of these games. Like, they'll find a way to, they know how to find a way to win some of these games. So, for the floor, I'll go 4 wins, and for the ceiling, I mean, God forbid the NFC East does what the NFC East does best, and beats completely stupid, which will probably be the case once again. I could see the Giants getting 9 wins. How? Because of chaos. That's why.
Last but not least, we have our special guest.
Their floor is they get relegated, and their ceiling is they win the Super Bowl, baby.
Oh, hell yeah.
They're gonna go all the way, baby.
I have one prediction for the Giants. I have one prediction for them. They get sued by the Montreal Canadiens for copyright.
Some, but that's all the teams. Obviously, I said this earlier. We'll give you a minute to shill, Dave. Go ahead, chill your heart away. Say whatever you want. The world is your oyster.
I'm bad under pressure.
Just say like, comment, and subscribe or something. I don't know.
You can't subscribe. All right, I'm DrawPlayDave. I'm the creator of the DrawPlay comic. You can find it online at thedrawplay.com. You can find me on Twitter at DrawPlayDave. You can find me on Blue Sky at the DrawPlayDave at thedrawplay.com. I also have Instagram where I mostly just post pictures of my dog. Also at DrawPlayDave. It's very recognizable because I've used the same logo literally everywhere for like 15 years now. And yeah, that's just me. I'm more important than everyone else
About
here.
your OnlyFans. What about your OnlyFans?
No, it's called
At the
Only
show.
Dave's.
That's mostly just pictures of new Trevor Lawrence. Like, not everyone's gonna be into that.
Yeah, like also something I realized last year. You know, it turns out Dave's profile picture actually is based on like an old emote from Something Awful.
Yeah. If you want to know that story, like I got my start essentially in the Something Awful forums, in the football forum. That was where I was posting before I started making any football stuff. But somebody in there asked to make to combine a Giants helmet with this like face emoji, and I made that, and I'm like, this is really funny. I'm just gonna make it my avatar everywhere, and that's how that happened.
I
think one of the funniest things regarding Dave's drawings is like seeing, like, I remember when he did the Jacksonville Jaguars one after they I don't know if it was if they made the playoffs or they won that playoff game over the Chargers, and he drew Trevor Lawrence in like the Shawn Michaels pose, you know, holding the belt over his freaking.
That was the
over his
commission.
gun.
That was somebody paid me money to make that.
Yeah, and I just remember that. It
I
was
remember-
glorious, and I remember posting it on Discord, and Discord was like, yeah, this is a little out there, let me tell you. It's like, it didn't let me post it the first time. It's like, what the hell?
I've gotten flagged a few times for posting some of the Kirk Cousins art. I'm not gonna lie.
I solely remember the fish and Vaseline bit where someone gave you $2 at first, and then eventually.
Yeah, that exploded. I was just like, I want to draw this. Like, somebody was like, what if I give you $2? What'll that buy me? I was like, an eyeball. So I drew an eyeball after he sent me $2, and then that person just told everyone, and I suddenly had like $58 worth of like $2 donations in my inbox. I'm like, God damn it. So I just finished it.
Oh man.
Anywho, this has been the Untitled Sickcos podcast. Thanks once again for DrawPlayDave for coming on by. We'd love to have you again. Hopefully this time without the kidnapping. And
Yeah, Spence, you
I'd
want to
like to
untie
thank you all
those
for listening.
knots that you tied
yeah,
up on
I'm
them?
done for
We
an hour
got
now.
Winnie. We
You
can
really,
let him
really
go.
think I'm still tied up? No. I escaped hours ago.
Yeah.
Oh,
Did you
shit.
make sure to stop at the gift shop?
No.
Spencer spent so much
Also-
time on that.
also, before you leave, you have to say, my Marby.
Oh my god.
No.
That is very
He
understandable.
said no!
I understand.
Oh fuck!
It'd be really
I
cool
unplugged them by accident. Shit.
It'd be really based and cool-pilled if you said that.
No.
I got Chad Beebe to say it to Spencer.
For God's sake. Alright, we're plugged back in.
I have standards as a human being.
That's very understandable.
Well,
But anyways, Dave, thank you so much for coming on to the show. It was an absolute honor to have you as a guest. Be sure to follow the socials to do posts hilarious comics. I look forward to them every single Sunday. But there's one more thing we forgot, gentlemen.
our pick'ems, right?
Yes!
Oh yeah, and Dave said he'd join in too. Let's
All
go.
right, hell yeah! All right, so we got this Saturday. We got Winnipeg versus Calgary. I got fucking Winnipeg. I think they're finally gonna win one.
I mean, they're not called Losapeg. Let's go, Blue Bombers.
Let's go Calgary.
Let's go, Blue Bombers.
Yeah.
You know, I just want to give Calgary some solace because the Flames are obviously gonna blow it up. So I'm gonna say Calgary wins.
I'm going Winnipeg. Give me the Blue Bombers.
All right, Sunday's game we got Hamilton versus the Ottawa Red Blacks. I'm gonna go for Hamilton.
I'm gonna say it in a way that that Nickman can understand. I'm picking Lewis.
What?
Get it?
Yep.
I'm stupid. I don't get it.
Hamilton.
Okay.
My name is Alexander Hamilton.
See,
My
I
name
would
is Alexander Hamilton.
have gone
You know,
with
it's funny, you can say
H. Hamilton
can
of
say-
helmet.
you can say the word Hamilton to a Canadian, a Formula One fan, and a musical fan, and then they'd have different meanings.
Okay, I'm gonna take the Titan Cats because it gives me the perfect opportunity to be like, hey, remember when Johnny Football was on here on the Tiger Cats?
Wait, Johnny Manziel was in the Tiger Cats?
Not for long.
Yeah, it was,
I thought it was with the
Johnny Manziel his
Montreal
way off the
Alouettes.
team pretty quickly. But
yeah.
yeah, he was there.
The only reason I actually remember it is because Dave made a comic about LeBron joining the Tiger Cats to party it up with Johnny.
I don't even remember making that comic. I've made enough that I've straight up forgotten a very decent number of comics that I've made.
Alright, I'm not gonna jinx the Tiger Cats. I'm gonna go with the Red Blacks.
All right, and then we
Also,
got.
Red Blacks, 'cause I think their name is very silly.
Wait,
I like
It,
and I
it's
like
a reference to something. I have no idea what the fuck they're
I don't care what it's a
referencing.
reference to. I think it's funny. I
Very-
choose not to learn.
All right, we got Toronto versus Saskatchewan. Very good game next week. I'm gonna go with the Rough Riders.
Saskatchewan.
I'm gonna go with the Argonauts to be different.
I'm gonna go Saskatchewan, just because it sounds funnier to say Saskatchewan, Saskatchewan, Saskatchewan. I like saying it.
I'm gonna pick the
Yeah,
team
I'm-
that starts with the letter A.
The Toronto Argonauts.
Yeah, I'll go Rough Riders.
Excellent. In the last game, got Ottawa versus Winnipeg. And for references, we
Winnipeg.
usually pick these like Friday night, and there's like 2 games that have already been completed, so we're kind of
Well, there's one game that's 2 minutes
Ongoing.
away from completion right now.
it's nearing completion. I think it's like Edmonton's up right now.
No, it's the BC Lions.
Oh my god, it's classic Edmonton blowing it in the 4th quarter like they always fucking do. They do this every time. Edmonton always does this. They do it's every single game they do the same shit over and over again.
The Canadian Mr. Beast team.
Theoretically,
Edmonton,
yes.
who's your defensive coordinator? Cody Ceci?
That's actually an interesting question that I kind of want to find out. Because, their defensive coordinator is a guy by the name of Jason Shivers.
Is he related to Cody Ceci? I think played defense
No.
for the Edmonton Oilers.
No. But he was on the practice squad for the 2006 Giants.
He was a former Chicago Bear for like one season.
I mean, it's better than when Edmonton had the glorious losing streak at Commonwealth Stadium that went from 2019 to 2023. That was my favorite era of Edmonton.
Anyway, I'm probably going to take Winnipeg in this game.
Okay.
Winnipeg.
Winnipeg as well.
It's a classic red versus blue matchup.
Aiden, do you
I'm gonna
curse?
go-
Do you curse Winnipeg?
I do. I curse Winnipeg.
Excellent.
Alright, buddy, that's a one.
Excellent. Well, everybody, thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for tuning in tonight. Thank you for DrawPlayDave for joining us once again. Be sure to follow him on Twitter. And we'll see you guys in the next episode. Take care
Cha-cha-cha.
and have yourselves a damn good one.